7 months ago, a 20-year-old girl committed suicide because she could not stand being bullied continuously by her acquaintances on social media. Another 20-year-old boy jumped from a 17-story building earlier this year, also because he could not bear being mocked and harassed on the internet by his peers and friends. Let's not stop there. This incident of harassing someone online has also claimed more lives of young people throughout Malaysia, especially in the last 5 years. If you have noticed, there are many cases have been reported related to these incidents in our local newspapers. I just name a few. This incident not only happened among the common people, it does happen to famous people as well. For example, in last June, the former Miss Universe of Malaysia post triggered controversy on social media, and the beauty queen has since been the target of the netizens' vicious and terrifying comments. Thus, in 2019, last year, Pew Research Center classifies Malaysia as one of the world's most morally conservative countries. Ironically, when it comes to online, they said Malaysians can be very ruthless and aggressive people. Although it might be true, surprisingly, an independent internet research website has placed Malaysia 6th among 28 countries in a survey on cyberbullying around the world. Not only that, when compared to only Asian countries, Malaysia ranked second behind India, which was placed first on the list. Based on a 2019 poll by the United Nations Children's Fund, or UNICEF, on violence against children in about 30 countries, they have found that in Malaysia, 1 in 5 children were reported to have skipped school due to experiencing cyber aggressions and violence from their peers. It also been reported that 3 in 10 teenagers in Malaysia admitted that they have been the victims of cyber aggressions incidents. On top of that, 1 in 4 Malaysian parents have confirmed that their child had experienced cyberbullying throughout their school days. What I have shared earlier is a tip of a very small statistics and tragedies that actually have taken place in this country. Before I proceed on my next presentation, let's have a look on this. Be nice during online. It costs you nothing. Now, let me introduce myself. My name is Sarina Yusuf. I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of Communication and Media in University Pendidikan Sultan Idris, UPSI. My research interest is on youth and new media studies. The concept paper that I would like to share today is entitled Towards Understanding the Personal and Situational Factors of Cyber Aggression Victimization, a Theoretical Review. To curb or impede the phenomenon of cyber aggression, this is very important for us to understand what are the factors that related or that have influences the cyber aggression victimizations among our young children in this country. So, youth and new media. Our youth are growing up in a time where there is little distinction between digital and the physical interactions. Their lives are heavily intertwined with social media, where texting is often the primary mode of communication among them. Thus, there are various terms have exist to describe the new generations of youth these days. For example, the net generation, the millennium generation, as well as the digital natives. Because this high dependence on smartphones and other communication devices, these have permits the unlimited usage of internet. At the same time, these also have given a myriad of problems towards the youth that have been depend too much on these technologies. Because of this dependency, there are many problems that have arisen. One of them is a new form of abusing someone through computer-mediated communication. This new form has become a new growing problem in our today's society because it offers a convenient opportunities for our youth to bully, to harass, or to humiliate another person or their peers. The cyberbullying concept has been used widely to explain the online aggression phenomenon. However, according to most of the aggression scholars, these terms fail to capture some of the important criteria that form the aggression through the internet. Thus, the current study proposing the term of harmful online behavior should be broader in line with the current trend of technology usages and the effects it has on the youth behavior. Because the youth these days are using the advantages of publicity and anonymity offered by the internet to abuse, harm, or hurt their peers. Thus, this study defined cyber-aggression that referring to a behavior that is performed with the intention of harming another person by using electronic forms of contact. Besides that, it is also can be defined as a malicious desire to damage someone's reputations or relationship, such as by hacking someone's Facebook or email accounts. Because of cyber aggression is the new topic or the new study in Malaysia, it has been very limited in terms of literature as well as any information related to this topic. Most cyber aggression studies have been reported from the Europe countries as well as American and other Asian countries, but not in Malaysia. There is also a paucity of studies on cyber-based abuse in Malaysian context, and most of these cases were covered only in local news as well as statistical reports, without any empirical supports. There were more or less than 10 research has been conducted related to cyberbullying, but none on cyber aggression yet. So let's see what is the statement of research problem. Because of past studies indicating there are a lot of literature focusing on demographic, prevalence, frequencies, as well as pattern of this phenomenon, there is no comprehensive framework have ever exist, especially in Malaysia for that matter, that includes the most important concept of cyber aggression, which is the predictive factors, the intervening factors, the moderating, as well as the control variables. There are two very important theories that will be used as the foundations of this study. The first one is the general aggression model, and the second one is the media dependency theory. 2 decades earlier, several prominent psychologists and scholars were seeking to integrate the existing theories of violence and aggression, such as social learning theory, script theory, theory of excitation transfer, into a single and unified theoretical framework. Resulting through this idea, in 2002, Anderson and Bushman introduced a general aggression model that would incorporate all the associated theories that I've mentioned earlier into a single theoretical framework that can explain the phenomenon of aggression. According to Dewall in 2018, this theory is the more parsimonious model of violence that defines and offers strategies to mitigate or curb the aggressive behaviors. This theory proposing that individual referred to as an episode that consisting in the situations of one period of ongoing social activity. The social activity is related to three main stages, which are inputs, roots, and outcomes. Initially, the GAM focuses upon factors that associated with the individuals and the situation that influence the aggressive behavior. In the input stages, personal factors consist of various variables such as personality traits, their belief, values, perceptions, and technology usage. Situational factors, on the other hand, are characteristics of the environment and consist of variables such as peer support, parental involvement, and school climate. Roots. This model suggests that the influence of personal factors and situational factors will produce changes to the youth internal states. There are three states that's going to happen during this process, which are the effect, the cognition, and the arousal. Finally, based on the model, the effect of the internal states influences outcomes as the last stage of general aggression model framework, which is identified as appraisals and decision-making processes. Depending on how these internal states are affected, appraisal of the situation may induce a decision processes resulting in aggressive behavior. Based on these chains of ideas, I can give example like when youth have low self-esteem, they will have lack of support from parents and peers, and the exposure to problematic media contents will be high, and then they will be addicted to the internet severely, and this behavior, according to the scholars, will lead to various online consequences, including pornography, cyber-based abuse activities such as bullying, and other harmful activities. Let's see what are the personal factors that been included in this study. The first one is the personality. Previous studies found that low self-esteem and high narcissistic personality have been reported to have higher engagement with the cyberbullying behavior compared to those with high self-esteem. Thus, the first personal factors, the very important factors of this study is the personality of the victim themselves. The second one is the technology use. According to study as well, the youth will change, their behavior will change when they have been exposed frequently and oftenly to the violent media content. Because of this unlimited use of internet, they will easily to be exposed to the other content of media. And then the third factors is the gender factor. As been appointed by several scholars, cyber aggression is a form of covert aggression. Based on the studies also, they have found that this covert aggression always being perpetrated by girls. And most of the time, the victims also are among girls compared to boys. Throughout these studies, I have identified more than 10 situational factors of cyber aggression victimization. However, I identify there are only two significant factors that give huge impact and influence on the victims. The first one is peer support. Studies found that the positive support from peers and friends will reduce the aggressive behavior or will reduce the engagement to the harmful activities among the perpetrators as well as the victims. And the second factor is the parental involvement. Youth or children who engage in online harassment has been reported having weaker emotional bonds with their parents. This is because of there are less frequent parental monitoring of their online activities and more frequent discipline by their parents. So it's indicate here that parents' lack of involvement in their online activities will weaken the bonds between parents and children. And the higher disciplines that they enforce to their children also will weaken the emotional bonds that they have with their children. And this situation will increase the engagement to the online aggression. My presentations comes to this conclusion. First, by applying the GAM framework as the foundation of the study, along with other related theories, it is an important leap to understand the new form of aggressive behavior on youth in Malaysia. Second, this article seeks to contribute towards emerging research on the determinant factors of cyber aggression as well as an attempt to contribute towards a deeper understanding of the nature of cyber aggression among urban youth. With that conclusion, I would like to end my presentation with a huge thanks to the organizer of the conference for giving me the opportunity to present my concept paper on this platform. Before I go, let me share another one quotes that related to cyberbullying. Unless and until our society recognizes cyberbullying for what it is, the suffering of thousands of silent victims will continue. Thank you.